Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to FRL. We are here tonight for F1 22 action. It is F1, it is Season 16, round number 3 of the Championship, as we take, of course, the Monaco Grand Prix from the Circuit de Monte Carlo, otherwise known, of course, in Gran Turismo as the Côte d'Azur. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Tuesday evening. Joining me in the commentary box is a totally different commentator to who I was expecting to commentate with. It is Mr. FRL Jesse. Jesse, how you doing?
I am doing really good. Happy to be back commentating F1. Of course, last season, I think, no, 2 seasons ago, we did also F1. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it again. Monaco, it is just, in my opinion, like Drive to Survive. So yeah.
You put it completely right. It is literally like Drive to Survive. I am just joining the lobby, by the way, so I'm going to give you an invite very soon indeed. This is all done remotely, by the way. You are seeing this exactly live because I'm capturing my capture card at this stage. So you're literally seeing what normally is a blue screen on PS4 actually happening right in front of your eyes, which is unfortunate because I thought of actually not going on the thumbnail rather than getting the invite out. But there we go. Jesse has now officially got an invite, which is now perfect, and we should now have a look then at the championship standings because we have now both joined the lobby, of course. Macho, of course, 45 points for his name. Jensen there in second on 43 points. Rocco in third on 22. Medtc in fourth on 17. Charlie fifth on 16. Papine in sixth on 15. Keki in seventh on 12. Lou in eighth on 10. Has, however, left the league, I'm led to believe. I had a conversation with him last week, of course, and it's more to do, I think, with his foot and his injury rather than anything else. Chris and Bunty ran off the top 10 as well on 6 points, along with Zayron Watermelon also on 4, turning out for 11th, and then Ryan on 2, Ivo and Hawk both on 1 point respectively as well. And to remind, of course, of everyone that what actually happened last week, I need to get up the standings to remind myself who actually won last week, which is not the best thing, because I'm normally more prepared than this, but hopefully I'll be able to get it up in due course. Just give me a second, unless you know who won last week, Jesse.
Macho won last week
Macho.
In China. Yeah.
Of
I
course
have
it
just
was.
a standings document open now.
Yeah, exactly. I've just got the standings open as well. It was Macho who took the win. Jensen finished second, of course, in China. In the end, Macho drove, I think, a really dominant race last week, and MedTC finished in third. Those are the 3 that feature as well. I have just clicked on in my poll. Didn't preempt that whatsoever. The poll is now up, of course, on the in the comment section. So if you do want to get your vote in for who's going to take pole position, of course, that will be key. But Macho, of course, took the win last week, Jesse. Jensen there in second, and obviously MedTC finishing in third. How do you see everyone now developing up in the season, especially coming into a round like Monaco?
Well, from what I've saw so far, it is pretty competitive, especially at the front. As we see, it is only a 2-point difference in the driver standings, and also in the constructors, it is only 10 points between Mercedes and AlphaTauri. So yeah, I'm expecting then again a great battle tonight. And yeah, pole position is absolutely the key here in Monaco.
Pole position is absolutely key indeed in Monaco, and obviously with the constructor standings being quite close as they are, as you mentioned, Mercedes leading the way on 57 points, AlphaTauri there in second on 47, McLaren in third on 28, Williams in fourth on 25, Alpine fifth on 17, along with Aston Martin also in sixth on 17, Haas in seventh on 8, Ferrari in eighth on 5, and then Red Bull and Alfa Romeo so far haven't scored many points so far this season, haven't scored any points at all. It is only round 3 of the championship, though, so we are led to believe, of course, they will pick up points towards the end of the season. Mercedes, though, leading the way in the constructors, Jesse. AlphaTauri obviously close on their heels. How do you see the constructors battle playing out tonight?
Yeah, I think it will be maybe just 2 Mercedes cars and 2 AlphaTauri cars, maybe in the top 4. But yeah, we will see. For what I see now, Jensen, of course, 43 points in the driver standings, and then 0 only with 4. So yeah, that can be a big part, of course, in this constructor battle, as we see Mercedes took many points last time out in China, 38. So yeah, that can play also a big difference tonight here, maybe.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking at the comment section, by the way, Stephen there is in the chat saying poor attendance once again for F1. Tom Roberts, of all people, has decided to tune into FRL, formerly as Horns, of course, here at FRL. Hope he's doing well. And Mr. Tom Roberts, I can vouch for in terms of signing up. So if he does want to race tonight, I can vouch for that. He's a very quick driver, very clean and competitive as well. When things go his way, he, I think, will be perfect, I think, for FRL moving forward. So that is a James Indicament, quite literally, on the live stream, and that comes from the GOAT himself, potentially, of Tom Roberts. Looking at then the track map, we do have a track map this week. Unbelievably, 3.37 kilometres in length, 2.0 miles, 19 turns, waiting our drivers, of course, out on track. Just the one DRS zone, of course, one down in towards Zandvoort, in towards turn number 1. Pretty big elevation change around here as well in Monaco. It is the Jewel in the Crown, the Millionaires Playground. And unlike Nelson Piquet, you can't fit a 3.3-kilometre circuit into your front living room, especially if you are on a bicycle, like Nelson Piquet's quote was famously back in the day. But Jesse, of course, this is the race that everybody wants to win. It is the Monaco Grand Prix. And with, 3.3 kilometres of track and only one DRS zone, the lack of overtaking could be quite key, and especially so in qualifying, where the traffic could prove quite a problem as well.
Yeah, of course, and crashes that will also play a big part in this race and qualifying, of course, because if you are at the back, it is really difficult to get up to the front again because of the tough overtaking. But there are definitely some places to overtake here in Monte Carlo. But yeah, where is the question? Where can you overtake? Is the driver alongside you, of course, letting space and racing clean? So yeah,
Oh God.
we will see it all tonight. I hope there will be some beautiful overtakes made.
I've just nearly closed down my OBS by accident. Goodness me, I didn't want to do that. I was closing down the standings because I had them open on Microsoft Edge, and then apparently it wanted me to close down OBS. Everything's fine. I think we're still live. I think we're still good to go. And good to go, certainly in the lobby, which we are now going to go towards. Goodness me. I mean, last night was all of night because I accidentally used a WOR graphic on a PSGL live stream, which I don't think can get any worse. But what could be worse than ending the live stream about 10 minutes into, and even before the race has actually begun? I'm really not having the best week here at all.
Well, that is not the best thing you have ever done then, I think.
It definitely isn't. It definitely isn't. But we have got 16 drivers currently in the lobby. A big welcome, by the way, to Dara Smith, who has joined the FRL lineup. I have commentated on him in many different races over the days, and especially in TML, where he has been a real asset, I've got to say, in F1 over past season. Dara, of course, I think formerly of QRT. I'm not sure if he's actually still in QRT, if I'm not mistaken. Dara is a very quick driver. Watch out for him. Certainly, if you can hook a lap in, of course, that applies to everyone who will be able to hook a lap in, of course, here in Monaco. But we are now good to go. And like the poll, Jesse, I'm going to come across to you this time. Who is your top 3 for qualifying?
I think Macho will take pole position, Jensen P2, and let's see the lineup. Actually, I'm not really prepared for this, but I think Bunty has qualified. I think Matt TC in third.
Med TC in third. Yeah, Bunty, I believe, picked up a qualifying ban. I'll just get the stewards report up because I saw this a little bit early on today. Bunty did indeed. That's the wrong Discord. I'm looking at the TML Discord. Might have picked up a qualifying ban in there as well, but even before the season started. But the stewards reports from last week, there was quite a few of them actually in the stewards reports last week for F1. For F1, it was Papine and Ruti, an incident there, 1 penalty point and no POV. Papine as well and Zero, their racing incident, no POV, 1 penalty point for them. And Bunty did get a qualifying ban. Not sure what the reason is. I don't like the stewards reports really, where they don't give you a reason why Bunty actually picked up a qualifying ban. If anybody is available to, please give me the reason why Bunty has got that qualifying ban. I think he might have picked up too many penalty points perhaps from early on in the season. But looking at the instance, yeah, there we are, F2, he had an incident in. earlier on in the season, and I think he got 5-second penalty. I'm not sure, but first cars are coming out on track. Please, somebody answer me in the comment section about that one. But we are now getting out on track, and interestingly, Bunty's going on a set of intermediate compound tyres, which is the first thing. But the first man out on track is that man there, Shazoo Jensen. He is possibly a hot favourite, I think, coming into tonight in qualifying. Certainly up there in PSGL F1 last night. Recently had his flu jab just as much as 20 minutes ago, and Jesse Jensen, probably one of the favourites to take pole tonight.
Of course, he's one of the favourites. Our P2 man in the standings will, of course, hunt to take the championship lead back from Macho in the standings, of course. And also wants to pick up great points for the constructors, of course. And yeah, Jensen, he will be, of course, one of the favourites here in Monaco to take this, I think, most important pole position of the season here in the streets of Monte Carlo.
Yeah, definitely so. Bunty, by the way, his qualifying ban was because he left the pits early. Why didn't I remember that from China last week? He left the pit lane early, caused the yellow flag that we all saw at the start of the live stream as well, of course, for the minute silence from Mantis. Very sad passing, pretty much a year ago to this day that he passed away. Jensen, though, going to try and do him proud tonight. He's in the AlphaTauri. He's on the run down in towards turn number 1, in towards Sandevot. Got to ride the curb. Third gear actually coming through there from Jensen, coming through Sandevot, and already invalidated on the entrance into the corner.
Yeah, it's really easy to turn into early in that turn 1 Sandevot corner. And yet, he picked up the valid for his first run. Not really ideal.
Not really, yeah, I think he just invalidated potentially. You're coming through correctly on my end, by the way. Macho, by the way, is on the lap as well. 18.6 through the first sector, not too bad. We saw in PSG F2 last night, because I covered Monaco around here, 18 threes, 18 fours through the first sector is where these guys should be aiming at. Bunty's inside, back into the pit lane, got his setup on, which is good stuff. Now Macho comes through Portier, on the run through the tunnel, and then, of course, down into the Novelle chicane, the new Novelle chicane, perhaps you could refer it to, because this used to be with hay bales, believe it or not, down in toward the left-hander and the right-hander of the Novelle chicane. That's perfect, apart from running the sleeping policeman there. Macho got that completely, and let's be right, as he comes through the middle sector. 52.1, not electric from Macho, I've got to be honest, but he is now flying his way through the swimming pool section, if I get my words out in time. Raskas now for Macho, and then in towards Anthony Norge at the final corner. Hawk goes quickest, 111.4. Take a photo because it's not going to be lasting longer. Macho already goes a second photo, then 110.2 to start off the night. Not a bad lap lad all by Macho, but we should see towards the end of the session, certainly, Jesse, 109 certainly.
Yeah, but these are only the banker laps, and I think 1 minute 10.2 is actually a pretty good banker lap for the Mercedes man.
Watermelon hoping to squeeze a little bit of time out of the Ferrari as he comes on the run toward the line. He goes third. I've really laughed at that more than I should have. 11 flat there from Watermelon goes third. If you didn't get that, watch it back later on. Darren Smith coming in toward the Grand Hotel hairpin through Mirabo. Keke goes second, and look at that for a time. Keke only 1,000 of his teammate, and he immediately loses it on his down lap coming out of Sandevot.
I was literally spectating in that. That was a really scary moment for the other Mercedes, who is now only 1,000 behind of his teammate.
Ooh.
And Matty C goes.
Yeah, Matty C does indeed go quicker, and Jensen goes even quicker. 109.7, and Darren Smith hits the back, and I think that was Charlie, if I'm not mistaken, coming through the swimming pool section. Aston Martin completely in the way. Darren Smith's got damage. The Aston Martin's got damage there as well. Indeed, it was, I think, Charlie, who was just preparing up for a lap, or was it Hawk? I think it might have been Hawk, actually, who was just backing off his lap. Didn't check his wing mirrors quite clearly, and unfortunately, Darren Smith in the pit lane, Hawk back in the pits. Luckily, both of them not out the session, though. That one will definitely be looked at, though, by the stewards.
Well, what in my opinion is the most important to see from Jensen, that he invalidated his first lap on the setup field, but now with another lap, he just stops the session now with a 109.7. Really
yeah, 109
for me.
Yeah, 109.7, and Jensen and MedCC, I don't know what they were doing coming through the tunnel. They were just running side by side, having a bit of a gentleman's agreement, perhaps, maybe a bit of a thank you. Did he give him a bit of slipstream, perhaps, on that lap? Med TC, though, is coming back in the pit lane, I believe. Same with Jensen. Both of them are into the pit lane. Of course, pit entry, I believe, has not been monitored by the stewards this week. Don't blame them, because there is really not a pit lane entry coming in here in Monaco. Jensen, though, out on top. Med TC there in second. Macho there in third. Charlie as well, I think, is on a down lap. He's on a set of medium compound tyres, which is quite interesting. 111.4. He obviously will improve anywhere between 6 and 8 tenths per second, I think, on his lap once he gets on that sort of soft compound tyres.
Yeah, and which I see now, he's still quicker on the medium set of tires than Zero, Hulk, and Rocco for now. Impressive by him.
Yeah, really impressive by him indeed. Rocco as well is just starting up, I think, on a run, or just backed off. He cut pretty much the chicane where, of course, Charles Leclerc had that famous...
He has no front wing. He has no front wing anymore.
Camera angle was very deceiving there. I'm not sure where he's picked up front wing damage. But he's into the pit lane, and obviously he'll go back again probably in a couple of minutes' time, back out on track. Looking, by the way, at the chat, Mr. Tom Roberts there is demanding that he signs up, I think, for FRL, which is very good to see. Very highly recommended by myself, certainly. Jensen out on top of the Med TC in second. Macho, though, another contender for pole, now on a lap.
Macho is on a lap. What is he gonna do? Ooh.
He's backed off.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's backed off.
Really interesting.
Maybe he's got... I'm thinking a little bit forward thinking here, but maybe he's got too much fuel in that car, and he's going to try and high rev it on this lap and then go for second run, because I think that's what Jensen did. Of course, he invalidated on his run. Macho clearly wasn't happy with that first sector at points, and Jensen and Med TC are 4 tenths up the road from him, and certainly to second position. And Macho, I think, has got to try and be on the par of Jensen. So I can see what he's doing here. I think he wants to be on par with Jensen, go for that second run, and look, he's just came out ahead of him. There's Med TC.
Yeah, I was looking now, you can see the amount of fuel on someone's steering wheel. He had 2.5 laps of fuel, so I think that could be really logic, what you said there, that he is just backing off to burn some fuel, but he's... Ooh, interesting.
Back in the pit lane, there's no front wing change, obviously, unless he obviously repairs that in his garage. But Macho, interestingly, comes back in the pit lane. ATC's on lap, Jensen on lap as well. Jensen actually attempted down to the first sector, now into the Grand Hotel hairpin, which takes very wide coming through there. Now into the Portiers, Med TC has crashed coming through Casino Square, top of the hill, turn number 5, and that is a place where I saw plenty of drivers crash last night in PSGO.
Probably lost the back end of the car. Also really easy to crash there, of course. Yeah, where is it not easy to crash? Here in Monaco. But yeah, looking here at Jensen now, he is impressive through that second sector. 2.5 tenths improvement for the man in the AlphaTauri. Through Raskas now. What can he do? Through the final corner now. Opening the DRS. What is it gonna be for the British driver? It is gonna be a 1-3. What a lap by Jensen.
Considering as well, he was down in the first sector, and then he's just found 3.5, well, basically 4.5 tenths per second to improve to 3.5 tenths, and then improve to 109.3. Very impressive indeed. This is a man, by the way, that about 40 minutes ago was getting needled, quite literally, for his flu jab. But Jensen out on top, Med TC in second. Darius Smith also went third. He's looking quite good so far in terms of his pace. Zabel there goes 6th with a 1:10.7. Ryan is on the lap as well. He's coming to the Grand Hotel hairpin. Charlie has backed off on a set of soft compound tyre. And actually, there's quite a lot of drivers coming through the Grand Hotel hairpin. Dundee, however, one of the maybe underdogs potentially coming in tonight. 52.5 in the middle sector. It's not lightning quick from Dundee whatsoever. He's a bit squirrely coming out now through Anthony Norge at turn 18 and 19. Now on the run to the line with the Hungarian. Where is he going to play? He goes 6th ahead of Zabel. Not a bad lap, but he can find, I think, quite a bit of improvement on that lap.
Yeah, I was spectating with Ryan, and in his first sector there was many traffic, and now he backed up off his lap. So I think that could be the reason for that, because there were 2 cars, I think, through the point is sector 1.
Ivo was just crash coming as well, coming through Casino Square. The Aston Martin of Charlie, I think. Oh, sorry, Hawk is actually coming through that part of the track. So we'll see where he is. There he is, left-hand side walk. Yeah, he's cut the inside curb and then gone to the left-hand side, I think. So Hawk there, down in 12th. Ivo already at the session. He's down now in 8th position, because I think we've just seen another improvement. It was, in fact, Dundee, so I've already covered that. Macho now on the run, though, coming through Casino Square, absolutely flying through Casino Square, hits the wall on the left-hand side. 18.6 in the first sector, though, is not too bad, and if he can try and hook up this middle sector, and especially some of his final sector, he lost so much time, Macho could be in with a really good lap here. He's got Rocco, I think, just ahead of him.
And Nick and Tom heading to him. I don't know if that is allowed.
I hope it is. I recommend them to join. Oh, his Rocco was spun right in front of Macho, coming in towards the back now at turn number 12, and he's got more traffic ahead of him. Ooh. And Macho, 52 flat through the middle sector, is not looking too bad at all. 1.5 tenths of a second. So off-putting though, those cars, obviously. Tom, by the way, is coming through on my end, which is not great. Didn't mute the game chat whatsoever. Macho now coming through Anthony Nodge at the final corner. I think I can hear myself on Tom's end as well. Macho now on the run to the line. 109.9. Not a bad lap there at all, but it's Jensen out on top, maybe seeing second. Macho there in third, and I'm not sure what Tom is actually watching. Hopefully, if he's watching the stream, he can turn it off.
Yeah, but Jensen, he's really dominating this qualifying so far. Looking at all the times, 109.3, and then Matty C to a half a second back. Really impressive so far by Jensen.
Yeah, really impressive so far indeed. I was trying to mute his game sound, but I can't within the lobby, which is an absolute damn right disgrace. Codemasters, sort your game out, quite literally. Jensen out on top for MTC in second, Macho there in third, but as you say, Jensen has just put a bit of dominance, I think, over this qualifying session so far. Keki, however, responds in the first sector. Now, it's at 18.5 in the first sector, not quite as quick as what we've seen from other drivers, but Keki looking hooked up so far, coming in towards Mirabel Bass, needing it to the wall, coming through Mirabel Bass, then through Portier, of course, where Pascal Verline was left hanging in 2016 with the incident with Jensen Button. Dundee is coming out the pit lane as Nick NW has just joined as well, I believe, as Keki now into the Nouvelle chicane in Valada.
But Derek Smith in P4 now, he's also putting 110. Can he maybe go up to P3 again? That is pressure now to Anthony North. We go the final corner, VRS open, and then of course the straight to the finish line, and it is P3 for him so far.
Parrot saying you're sounding quite weird. Yeah, you are definitely sounding a lot weirder, certainly on my end. I think it might be internet related, Wi-Fi related perhaps, so hopefully that will sort out in due course. Jensen though out on top, MedTC in second, Darren out in third. Everything's coming through fine, by the way, I think sound-wise on my end. It's just Jesse's internet, I think, is playing up. I have seen that mess up quite a lot on your streams that you do on a Saturday night, so I know what it's all about, so it's fine.
Yeah, it could be my internet side of many things on. I have the stream on my phone, my laptop, and Discord. And
get whatever you don't need turned off, and then it saves your Wi-Fi a bit. There we are.
Yeah, I just turned my phone off now.
No worries. And Tom, by the way, is coming through the tunnel section. He is on a lap. He was allowed to join in qualifying. Same with Nick NW. Tom is on a run in toward the Nouvelle chicane, really hooking up this lap, I've got to be honest. And Tom, already, he's just joined the session, already trying to make an impact here, through the middle sector. It's a 51-1 in the middle sector. He's going to obliterate Jensen's time at this race. This is quick from Tom, in towards Raskas, locks up slightly, in towards Anthony Nodge. Tom now is on for possible pole position, and how about this for a statement? Tom now, on the run to the line, goes pole by 0.3 of a second. And that is why I recommended him. That is a statement right there. Tom out on top, Jensen in second, MedTC in third. Tom Roberts, welcome back to FRL, my friend.
Wow, and that's only with one lap now. Whew, calm it down, mate.
I'm happy. I'm really happy. I've got tears in my eyes, for goodness sake. Oh,
Jensen
wow.
pitting. Jensen is pitting, as many drivers are now doing their final laps here in Monaco.
Yeah, and Macho is one of the first, I think, to start on a lap as well, in towards Sandoval at turn number 1. It's Tom out on top, Jensen second, MTC in third. That, though, ladies and gentlemen, is how you hook up a lap, how you hook up that middle sector. I mean, a 51.1 in the middle sector is PSGL F0 pace, quite literally. So quick through the first sector. Macho, 18.5 is a 10th up in the first sector, so Macho now trying to respond. Obviously, with a lap, I don't think anybody's going to get close, bar Jensen, I think, to Tom at this stage. Shazoo Man 1 and 2, MTC there in third. If he did put other, by the way, in the comment section, and he didn't put Tom, then I'm sorry. He joined late, and Paul, I think, is literally now completely and utterly screwed. But Macho now on the run down toward the Nouvelle Chicane. He's looking quite good so far on this lap. In towards now the left-hander of Tobacco at turn number 12, and then through the piscine section, swimming pool section, and already 4 tenths up, but he's 4 tenths down on Tom. This is looking like a really good lap, and Macho actually negotiates that swimming pool section very well indeed. Coming through Raskas in towards Anthony Norge. This is a lap to save it from Macho. Could go ahead of Jensen, I think, at this lap, on the run toward the line, and he doesn't, and he's just shy of Jensen by 1300ths of a second. Not bad lap at all, though.
It is really close between Macho and Jensen for now, for that final front row spot, and it's the Alfa Romeo of Nick, who also joined late, crash.
Oh, and Tom's now retired from the session as well in the pit lane. He's just rocked up, said, you know what, I'll set a lap, bang, 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 job done. And Jensen is on that lap. Whether or not he improves remains to be seen.
Yeah, and with that one lap only now in this qualifying session, I'm just thinking about Verstappen did in Spa this year, of course, and Vettel in 2013 Singapore.
Yeah, hopefully it might be the case. I mean, Tom set a really strong lap. It's probably as strong as a lap you'll see around here in Monaco in any league, even PSGL, even WR. You'll probably not see a stronger lap than that. What, though, can this man here do? Jensen on the run down and towards turn number 1 at Sandoval will pick up on board with his lap. I don't think anybody is going to really improve further down the field. Of course, we will get the improvements coming very much towards the end of the session. But Jensen now in towards Massenet, then in towards Casino Square, which is the next right-hander. Macho has decided to come into quick lane. He's not going to get another lap out of that. Jensen, though, 18.3 first sector, purple in the first sector. It now looks like it's going to be a war between the Shazoo boys, Tom and Jensen, for pole position. And Jensen in towards Mirabel Bass just goes wide slightly. He's coming through Porte. It's not hooking this up as good as I would have hoped, but it's still a good lap nonetheless. We'll see what this middle sector split is like once he comes out of Tabac. Now into the Nouvelle Chicane, though. Jensen in the AlphaTauri catches the curb. How on earth he's kept that car in a straight line remains to be seen. Not sure what happened there with his wheel input. And a 51.4 and he's out the session. Out of the session. A hard crash there for Jensen. And that mistake coming out of the Nouvelle Chicane off-put him out of the rhythm, and that's what happens around Monaco.
Yeah, I saw it. He had a little bit of a moment going out of the Nouvelle Chicane. Yeah, then through the back. Also now, pit crash for him. Has also Dundee has crashed out of the station. Also in sector 1. So many crashes we see there already in this qualifying session.
Yeah, a lot of crashes indeed. Parrot, by the way, saying top 4 is no assist, though I don't know about 5 and 6. Charlie saying he got blocked on every lap as well. And then puts a rather obscene expletive that I'm not going to repeat on the stream. It's not really an expletive, but I'm not going to really say it on the stream. But Tom rocks up, joins the session late, with about 5 minutes ago, sets a lap to behold. A 109 flat, out on top here in FRL, and in fact, actually, that's quicker than F2 pole position last night in PSGL. That is mad. Tom out on top from Jensen there in second, Macho there in third. Watch out for them two, certainly in the race. They're going to be at it, certainly from the start line. Darren Smith there in fourth on his return to FRL. Medici in fifth, Keki there in sixth, Watermelon in seventh, Charlie there in eighth. Still very good qualifying there from him, even though he got blocked on a majority of his laps. Dundee and Papine ran off the top 10. Hawk there in 11th, Zero in 12th, Ivor in 13th, Ryan in 14th, Kelly in 15th, Rocco in 16th. Bunty with that qualifying ban in the end because Nick joined. He's not actually last, so Bunty is starting there in 17th and Nick there all the way down in 18th position. but Tom the out on top, Jensen in second, Macho in third, and Jesse, the skill level between the top 3 and Dara Smith, there's 0.5 of a second separating Jensen and Macho second and third to Dara Smith in fourth. That is the difference of skill level that we've got in FRL F1 this season.
Yeah, he's really impressed by the top 3 qualifying drivers here in Monaco. Just half a second ahead on a short circuit. The shortest circuit in terms of kilometers. So, yeah, impressive by them. No words.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. What is even more impressive is Hawk wanted a wet race. Sadly, it's not. It's beautiful blue skies and sunshine in Monaco, of course, in the Millionaires Playground. Who is going to be out to play tonight in FRL F1? We've got 30 seconds until the race start. Jesse, who's your top 3?
I think it will stay the same like we start for the top 3.
Okay, so Tom, Jensen, Macho.
Yes.
Tom, Jensen, and Macho. Interesting. I think there might be a bit of a hookup. I think Tom's going to get the win. Macho's going to finish second, and for a bit of a rogue one, MedTC down in third. The formation lap is beginning. I thought we were going to go straight 5 red lights. I thought we were going to get straight underway. We have got a formation lap, though, to talk about everything now that is going to be had in this race. And a split up in the strategies is certainly something as well to really keep an eye on. Tom and Jensen, the top 2 still in the sort of hard compound tyres, along with Dara Smith and MedTC in the top 10, along with Pepine also in the top 10. They're all still on the sort of hard compound tyres. Probably the tyre to be on, I think, early on in this race. Everyone else, apart from Zero, Rocco and Nick, who are on the set of hard compound tyres, everyone else I haven't mentioned, Macho, Keki, Watermelon, Charlie, Dundee, Hawk, Ivo, Ryan, Pelly and Bunty, they're all on a set of medium compound tyres. As Parrot has just told me, it's 1-0 Argentina and Messi's just scored.
Wow. The GOAT scored, in my opinion. But I see something really interesting at the front, James. We see Tom and Jensen on a set of hard tyres and Macho in P3 on the mediums.
Yeah, Macho's there on a set of medium compound tyres. It's a good job the formation lap's got no damage on, because I think Tom would have been out the race even before the race actually begun. He's just absolutely clouted the wall on the left-hand side, halfway through the swim pool section. He's rolled over the curb. He's clouted the wall on the left-hand side. Luckily, he hasn't got any damage. Luckily, still, out on top, Jensen there in second, Macho there in third, and obviously we will see how those predictions are going to get on towards the end of this race. Let me know in the comment section as well who you're supporting there in the chat. Jensen's been disqualified from the session. I think that was a misplacement in his pit grid. Dundee the same, Dara the same as well. They're going to start, I think, a little bit behind their pit start. But we're right on board with hopefully Jensen of this race start if we can. The 5 red lights now coming out here in Monaco for round number 3 of the championship in FRL F1, and it's lights and away we go. And Jensen does get a good start, but Tom is very good off the line, and Macho's just got a sensational start off the line to the inside line in towards Center 1, gets the job done. He's into second position. I think everyone is clean through in the background, coming up Sandervoort safely, and Tom leads the way from Macho there in second. Jensen there in third. Peki trying to go on the inside line, coming through Massenet, trying to get the job done, and to be fair, he's got the job done. Brilliant stuff. Hawk is already out the race, along with Bunty and Pepine, I think, will pull up in that instant as well. But Keki gets the inside line into Massenet, gets the job done into fourth. He's on that set of medium compound tyres. Now they filter side by side. Grand Hotel, Hairpin, MedTC getting collected by Charlie, who rode up there on the curb, gives a free position to Watermelon. They're dropping further down the field, 6th, 7th and 8th position. But Tom absolutely exploded away off the line, leads by 0.8 of a second. Macho there in second, Jensen in third, Keki in fourth. Keki already producing one of the best overtakes I've seen around Monaco down the inside of Massenet.
Well, I didn't saw it, but what I saw was the reason how Hulk DNF. He was caught up in an incident with Pepine, I think. And yes, so unfortunately the Aston Martin is out of this Grand Prix.
that is a shame. That's 2-0, by the way. Julian Alvarez, I think, has just scored for Argentina as well. Keke, by the way, who was on the back in a former Argentina, former South American team, certainly. Keke on the back of Jensen, running across the line. Tom sets a fast lap race. He leads the way at the end of lap 1 from Macho there in second. Jensen there in third. Keke there in fourth. Darragh Smith there in fifth. Matey C in sixth. He lost a position, certainly off the start. And in terms of position gains and losses, Nick NW was gained the most. 5 positions gained further down the field. Ryan, Papine and Pelly all into the quick lane. Papine and Pelly especially into the quick lane. Papine, as you say, I think got caught up in that incident with Hawk. Certainly with Bunty, I think, involved in that as well. Might have had to take avoiding action. He's still continuing on though, down in 14th position. Most positions gained along with that though. Rockham and Ivo gained the most positions. They were 4 and 3. Same with Bunty as well on 3. And Keke on 2, looking to try and make it 3. He's not quite close enough though, coming through the tunnel section in towards the Nivelle chicane on the back of Jensen, who actually locks up there slightly, gets caught in the sleeping policeman, and Keke really applying the pressure as Macho was applying the pressure early to Tom.
Yeah, Jensen doesn't have space in these early stages. There is already 1.5 seconds down on Macho and Tom, and I can confirm it was an incident between Hall and Papine as I look at this right now.
Hawk and Papine, interesting stuff. Macho there on the back of Tom. Looks to the inside in towards Sandoval, doesn't get the move done. Maybe up the hill and towards Massenet. Please, around the outside, and potentially, is he going to get the job done? Macho going on the back of him. I thought he was going to lunge it around the outside. He wasn't too far, though, off the back of him. And now in towards Mirabeau. Is he going to try and get the job done? Macho looks the inside line, doesn't get the job done. But this is what we saw in PSGL. This is what I certainly saw in PSGL last night. The pressure situation from the leader. The leader in the end won in PSGL F2. That was Oggiano, I think, that won, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, sorry, not Oggiano. It was Stefano, I think, that won in F2 last night in PSGL. And Macho already, with that set of medium compound tyres, Jesse, is applying that pressure to Tom. And that pressure does lead to mistakes sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why I think, because these early stages in Monaco are important, strategy is really important. And yeah, Macho, look at him. He is quicker in, yeah, much quicker in some sections here in Monaco, which why I think the medium hard is the best strategy to be on.
Yeah, it definitely is. Charlie's right close to the back of Watermelon as well. The big gap in the field has come really from 6th, 7th position onwards. And Charlie on the back down the DRS straight in towards turn number 1. It's not quite close enough. More likely though, the move could happen in towards Massenet. Just a little bit screwy though out of turn number 1. Don't think he's going to put the ERS on. Don't think he's going to get the job done. But this is a setup that I saw last night where I think it was OP Kian last night who had a very good straight line speed setup in F2. He had a very good straight line. Appropriately, he's in the same car as well, Charlie. Oh, it's eclipsed the wall, actually, on the inside line, coming in towards the first part of Mirabeau, then into the Grand Hotel hairpin. Just caught on the wall there slightly. And Charlie now has put himself under pressure, but Dundee put himself under pressure by nearly clearing the wall on the background as well. So these really close walls, nearly catching a few drivers out early on. I think Nick has came in the pit lane further down the field.
Nick came into the pit lane starting on the hard tyres, now pitted on to the medium tyres, and Pepine and Ryan getting through now for P14 and P15.
Yeah, and Ryan, I think, has just gone around the outside of Massenet, if I'm not mistaken, as well, which is phenomenal stuff from Ryan. He's through, he's into 14, and oh my god, Pepine nearly went in the wall. Oh, and actually, Nick NW is in the wall in the background, hits the wall, clouts it, coming through the Grand Hotel hairpin. Luckily, I think he is still, he's out of the race, but there's going to be no safety car as a result. The safety car glitch is still prominent here in Monaco. Don't think we're going to get a safety car, and we're already back to green flag racing. Tom, Macho still leading the way, and all of a sudden, Tom now beginning to pull away from Macho, and Macho has used up a lot more ERS than the leader.
Yeah, that's also important, that Tom has a lot of more ERS than Macho, and Tom is almost gone now, outside second from Macho.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff, I think. Tom, obviously, as I say, just rocked up to work, done a lap, job done in qualifying, and now he's trying to rock away by a second, at least in this race. Of course, 13 on laps here in Monaco. Darragh Smith on the back of Keke. Keke, I think, has made a mistake somewhere on this lap, and I'm not sure if he has got left side end plate damage on the car. He was certainly on the back of Jensen. Now he's 2.6 seconds down. And he's still continuing on, so I think it was a genuine bad mistake there by Keke, unless Jensen just got superior pace at this stage in the race. Keke was on the back of Jensen, now falling into the clutches of Dara as Charlie, right on the back of Watermelon towards turn number 1, does get quite close. Gets a really good run though, up the hill, in towards Macedane Casino Square. He's got to think about the move. Not quite close enough, and Charlie, I think, putting his eggs in literally 0 baskets there, doesn't want to go for the move just yet.
Ryan with a 3-second time penalty, as his teammate Bunty is through on Rocco for P12. Ooh. And I think Bundy is into the wall. He is.
Oh,
he locked up, I think.
Yeah, lock up. I think it was a lock up. Yeah, certainly where he's gone on. Down the escape road. I think it was part way down the escape road. I think he's got away with that quite nicely. Papine, by the way, is on the back of Ryan. And is going to try the impossible of going around the outside of Macedane Casino Square. Doesn't quite get the job done. Ryan did do that, of course, a couple of laps ago on him. And Papine tried to do it again with those fresher tyres. Not, though, quite close enough to the back. And he's still going to try and hammer on the back of the Haas in front. As Tom now is only 0.3 of a second ahead of Macho. And I'm not sure if Tom's made a mistake, but Macho's certainly got pace.
I was about to mention that as well. Compared to the last lap, how many Macho gained back on Tom in the fight for P1 as Dundee also picked up a penalty 3-second time. And the tire is now in the pit lane.
He does indeed retire in the pit lane. He's there down in 13th position. Obviously, it will be 16th position once, of course, he gets there. As Dara Smith goes for the lunge down the inside out of Mirabeau. Keke and Dara side by side through the Grand Hotel hairpin, and Dara gets the job done. Brilliant stuff by the Red Bull. This is the man that you want to sign in FRL. Dara takes fourth position off Keke, and now opens himself up to F1 Esports Challengers driver, or former F1 Esports Challengers driver in MedTC. He's not quite close enough into the back of the Vel chicane, but Dara had the guts, had the determination, and quite frankly had the balls to go around the outside of the Grand Hotel hairpin. I have to clap to that. Dara Smith through and he's into 4th.
Really good overtake from him, and I don't know if it's his debut, but he's really doing alright out there. But yeah, 7 seconds back to Jensen at the moment.
Oh, Keke's in.
It's a bit big. Keke's in.
Yeah, Keke is into the pit lane. I think he had damage on the car, and he's tried to go with it. And that left side end plate damage, I think, coming back to bite him. Certainly a front wing change, and certainly now back in the pit lane. Unfortunately, Keke now out of the running, you could argue, for the top 3 with that, with that pit stop, and with, of course, a lot of time that he is going to obviously lose as a result. Tom leads the way, though, Macho in 2nd, Jensen in 3rd. Watermelon, though, was under so much pressure from Charlie, in towards the right-hander of Mirabeau, and then down in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin. They cascade their way down into the hairpin. Charlie has been literally superglued to the back of Watermelon, and there is a spinner, and I think that's Rocco who has gone straight on down the escape road, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if he's hit the wall. He is fine, I think. So Rocco just down the escape road, causing that yellow flag, and there was another yellow flag as well, and that's Ryan round at turn 1.
Ryan spun in the exit of Sandoval and has now no front wing anymore.
Unfortunate, and obviously with no safety cars being is happening on this track,
and he's out.
Tires.
Turned in too early.
Turning too early. Will that be a safety car though? I certainly saw 3 drivers last night crash as Charlie is now going to try the move on Watermelon in towards turn 1 at Sandoval. He's just not quick enough down the straight line. In towards turn number 1. He's got to really push Watermelon to the mistake, but it comes back to my point. Charlie has got to eventually go for this move now, and is he going to go for the move now from around the outside of Macedane? Not quite close enough from Watermelon. Very good in his defence, I've got to say. He's there in 6th, Charlie there in 7th, but Charlie, I've got to ask you that question, Jesse. When does that desperation set in from Charlie?
I mean, Monaco is all about patience, and I think Charlie just needs to try and force Watermelon into a mistake, and then gets past him. Job done, then.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but trust me, around here, it is not, because I have honestly crashed so many times around this track when being put under pressure. I certainly remember I got put under pressure by Ballboy, I think, around here, back in the day in FRL. Got under pressure by him, and we might have had a bit of contact at the top of Casino Square, and I think we ended up both in the wall. So it just comes to show that A, I've never been involved with that incident, and B, it's so hard to try and get an overtake done around here in Monaco as Charlie still on the back of Watermelon. There's the mistake, and now Charlie is going to try and capitalise on that round the outside of Sanderbot at turn number 1. Surely not. He's going to be alongside Watermelon, squeeze them towards the wall. That is fair play from Watermelon. It's a defensive line. It's a defensive line that he had to take as that Bunty, I think, was into the pit lane and Rock was coming through the swimming pool section. Charlie there was on the outside line. He was always going to try that move, but he was always going to get hemmed into the wall.
He was trying to make the move, but it didn't pay it off. But who is now impressing me? Look at Jensen, James.
Yeah, look at Jensen indeed. I was going to reference that as I think Macho just made a mistake ahead of him as well. Now the gap is 0.3 of a second. Huge mistake there from Tom. From Macho there in second. Really crouching the curbs nicely, but he's now under pressure from Jensen. And you do not want the former WR champion right on the back of you. The former FRL champion right on the back of you as well in Jensen. He's got more EOS than Macho at this stage, around about 21%. Coming in towards Sandoval at turn number 1, and you do not want, bar anybody, Jensen right on the back of you with Macho, as Charlie is into the pit lane. Not really an early pit stop, because that's the sort of pit stop that I was seeing in F2 last night in PSGL. Charlie, though, into the pit lane. Not sure if it's for a front wing change. It's certainly for sort of hard. As the spin out, I think it's Ruffle again.
Change. It isn't for a front wing change.
It wasn't.
It wasn't a front wing change, so I think the game just decided to not give him a front wing, because I think he maybe picked up damage from that little contact with Watermelon into turn 1.
Yeah, maybe so, but I'm looking at the gap and it's what, 18 seconds? And that's really a pit stop around here, so I don't think he actually had front wing damage. I think what he has done is try to get out of the Ferrari sandwich that he was in, because Watermelon was just not on his pace line at all. I mean, not on his pace line because he just absolutely cascaded his way across the curb on the inside and the Vel chicane. I did see that on the stream. Watermelon there in 6th, Ivo there in 7th. I think Watermelon was backing Ivo into essentially Charlie at this stage, and Charlie there in 9th position, doing a good job, and now Watermelon immediately reacts coming in the pit lane. So this is going to be interesting. Charlie has got Keki right on the back of him. Keki, of course, was running in the front 4 of the race until he got that overtake, of course, from Davis Smith. And Keki is all over the back of him, and if there's any time to try and get you under pressure as Rockwell's crash coming through to back, that is Charlie back in the pit lane going maybe for sort of medium companatized to the end, frees up Keki, and Keki is going to be behind Watermelon coming out the pit. So I think if Charlie didn't pick up, again, front wing change and a set of soft compounders nice now for Charlie, if he didn't pick up that front wing damage, he would have been probably behind Watermelon.
I mean, I think it is what I said earlier, that the game didn't change Charlie's front wing at his first pit stop. So yeah, this is really hurting him if he falls down now to P13, last of course now in this race. And he's on a new set of soft tires, so he needs to pit again.
Does need to pit again. Metty sees all over the back of Darius Smith as well in towards Anthony Noge at turn number 18 and 19. And former F1 Esports Challengers man has got no EOS left. He's got the Irishman of Darius Smith ahead of him. Keki's just picked up 3-second penalty as well further down the field. It's the only one of one still continuing. Ivo, though, into the pit lane. So this is going to be interesting for Ivo. Set of hard companatized go on, and he should get out. I think probably around about Keki Watermelon sort of area, because them two are now going to have a fight down in towards turn number 1, it seems, as now Keki is being let go by Watermelon. Interesting. So Keki gets the job done. Down the pit lane, Ivo's behind him, and Keki is Spoonies into 7th. And Watermelon, I think, Ivo, who was expecting him to come out pretty much alongside him, he didn't. He's 3 seconds behind.
He didn't, just 3 seconds behind, as you said, and these mediums are slowly hurting more and more and more. Look at Macho, he's almost 2 seconds behind now of Tom. So I think the pit stops for Macho and Pepijn, who are still in that set of mediums, will come anytime soon. Maybe this lap even.
Yeah, it was around, as I say, last night, it was around lap 12, lap 13 from a set of medium compactor tyres onto a set of hards. And Macho, I think, what he is trying to do, I think, is drop Jensen completely out of Tom's DRS, because his fight arguably is not with Jensen, it's with Tom potentially ahead of him come the end of the race. Now, Macho had really good pace in the first stint. In the first, 6-7 laps of that race, it was all over the back of Tom. And then Tom just gapped him outside of a second. And there, from then on, Macho, there is no going back, and he can't really get on the back there of Tom, who is still there out in front by 2.2 seconds. And Tom, arguably doing a really good job, but when will his pit stop come? This is going to be interesting, because if Macho comes in, Jensen could arguably follow him in and then get to the end on a set of medium compounder tyres. So Macho has got to basically cover himself off on Jensen and hope that Jensen goes a lap longer and doesn't get ahead of him. And I think that's what Macho was trying to entail, as Charlie's picked up the fastest lap of the race.
Well, it's really, really difficult, I think, to go till the end with mediums if you pit now from a set of hard tyres to mediums, as Tom also gained half a second again on Macho in that last lap.
Yeah, it's impressive pace from Tom. I mean, as I say, he rocked up in qualifying and brought that lap in, and now he's rocking up in the race, and he's just pulling away from everyone else. He's like, nobody can touch him. Quite literally, nobody can touch him. It's Tom out on top, Macho there in second, Jensen third. Darragh Smith, by the way, still in fourth. He's now gapped Medci to 1.7 seconds. Keke there, along with Zero for 6th and 7th. Zero in 6th, Keke in 7th. Watermelon, Ivo and Bunty top 10. However, I will back myself up because Zero's now in the pit lane, so it's just ruining exactly my run through. Pepijn, Charlie and Pelly are the final ones going, and that is for a front lane change for Zero. He is in the pit lane. I think his right side end plate damage on the AlphaTauri, and he is coming out of the pit lane very, very soon indeed. Zero is out of the pit lane, and he is going to be behind Pepijn and potentially Charlie coming out of the pit lane here.
Ooh, it will be really close between the Aston Martin and the AlphaTauri, but I think the Aston Martin will overtake him here. Yeah, not even a debate that Charlie is going to overtake Zero.
Charlie just clouted the wall as well with his left wheel on the left-hand side coming up the hill through Massenet. Charlie, though, does get the job done. He's on that set of soft compounder tyres, and now, actually, that's perfect for Zero, because Zero has got Charlie ahead of him. Charlie arguably is fighting for the bottom end of the points, and with the likes of Darragh, Jensen, especially, and Medci still yet to come in the pits, Charlie is obviously going to be well behind those guys, but obviously Charlie there in 11th, Zero there in 12th, is doing a very good job at this stage. Pelly there in 13th, also doing a good job at this stage as well, as we have been joined in the Discord by somebody. It's Mr. Hawk.
Yeah. Quick disclaimer. After some discussion behind the scenes, Tom, who's currently leading, given on what's going on behind the scenes right now, will be disqualified from the race because he has not yet been placed in the FRL F1 here and has still gotten an invite. He was not allowed to race. Somebody still invited him. So he's probably going to be disqualified from the results at the end of the race. So could he listen to this, or anyone that's in a party with him? If you could inform him that, unfortunately, should he win, that will not actually count because it's not in the league yet. It's not been accepted to the league yet. And then that'd be great. Just a quick disclaimer.
That is absolutely fine, and yeah, Tom certainly, I think on the whim, got invited. I think potentially by Jensen, potentially by somebody else. Certainly wasn't me, even though I was bigging him on the live stream. But Tom certainly looks like he's going to be disqualified from the race. Thank you very much for that information, Hawk. Here we are. And Macho and Jensen, second and third, and now, with that information, with more drama in FRL than you could get in for an episode of EastEnders, Jensen now and Macho are technically fighting out for the race lead.
Oh, after that information, I am getting more tension now, because, yeah, this gap is really close now, of course, but yeah, the real question is, when will Macho pit on that medium tyres? He's already 16 laps on it.
Yeah, definitely so. Tom Roberts, by the way, certainly Zook, I'm just looking at the conversation that they mentioned a little bit. Admins weren't looking at his time, he wasn't in the server, and Zook said
Macho
it
into
was
the
for
pit
next
lane.
week, as yeah, Macho was in to the pit lane. This is for set of hard compounded tyres. Now, this is interesting, because Jensen can technically continue on to set of soft compounded tyres. He will forfeit a lot of time if he does. What does he do? Does he counteract? Does he counteract Macho's move into the pit lane? Macho is going to be coming out ahead of Keki, who's also, well, Keki's on the other side of the track, so Macho is coming out of the pit lane in clear air. But he's got MTC and Dara behind him, as now Jensen. And Jensen, there's one part of me which says, you know what, come in the pit lane, undercut him, go for set of medium compounded tyres, but 20 laps on a set of mediums can make it, but it's going to be hard work.
It's going to be really hard work, especially against the hards, what we saw already in the last few laps with Jensen and Macho. So, yeah, if I was Jensen at this point, I would just continue on, having fresh tires, hopefully not coming out in traffic, as Watermelon is also out of this race. But yeah, hopefully not coming out in traffic, and
Jensen
then drive to the back Macho, and he's staying out.
Yeah, Jensen indeed does stay out, and now with him pushing on the ERS down the straight, that gives me the intention of Jensen is coming in the pit lane this lap around, and I think what he is banking on ideally is Dara Smith and MTC continuing on their strategies. Now, obviously, Dara and MTC are continuing on this lap, but what it doesn't mean to say at this point is Macho there in fifth. He's catching a second on MTC and Dara already, and it's going to be more as the race goes on. But Jensen and Tom, first and second, when is that decision from Jensen to come in the pit lane? Because he's now, what, 19 seconds, I think, in terms of pit stop. A pit stop around here is around 18. Jensen's not going to get away with this at all.
But we saw at the end of Macho's stint, he was really struggling with that medium tire. So maybe that is the chance for Jensen. After his pit stop, maybe he will be like 3-4 seconds behind Macho. But he has fresher tires, better tires, and just come onto the back of him and try and overtake him again.
Yeah, definitely so, indeed. WR, by the way, just put up a very cryptic tweet that I've just been tagged in as well. Jensen still continuing on here in FRL. WR, by the way, I've just put out a very cryptic tweet saying that there's going to be potentially more information on the 19th of December for WR sign-ups for Season 14, which I have been told is after the new year. So, yeah, if you do want to follow the likes of Tom and Jensen in there, and for the likes of me, the lead commentator for PSF1 over there, Tom leads the right, Jensen second here in FRL. Shouldn't really be picking up other leagues on this start, and we should be picking up our own league in FRL. But as there's a yellow flag, and that is that for Keki or Ivo? One of the two, I think, has just spun. If I'm not mistaken. But Tom and Jensen still 4 seconds, and actually Tom is now beginning to lose a little bit of time to Jensen.
Tom is starting to lose some time. But yeah, anyways, we heard the information. He is gonna get disqualified at the end of the race. So yeah, I think he's just driving for fun now or something. As Charlie also now back into the pit lane again. No, it looked like it was a front wing change, but he goes to a run-left old set of hards.
Bunty, by the way, is all over the back of Ivo. Now, Bunty and Ivo have already been in the pit lane. Keki is 6.5 seconds up the road. He's been picking up a little bit of front wing damage, of course, earlier on in the race. So Ivo and Bunty will be aware of that. And now Bunty, obviously, on the back, as Messi sees in the pit lane from fourth. Bunty on the back into the Nabel chicane. He's not going to go for a dive down the inside there, is he? He's not. Thank goodness for that he didn't. But now, Bunty on the back of Ivo, and do you know what? Actually, Pelly's just ahead of him, and do you know what? I think Ivo's going to get a little bit of cheeky free DRS here from Pelly, if I'm not mistaken, and indeed it will be, because Pelly is right ahead, minding his own business. Because of blue flags, he's entitled to get out of the way. He, though, in the pit lane, is going to give DRS to both of them down the straight, which is fair play.
This is really helping Ivo, I think, because without the DRS, Bunty would have used up his ERS, of course, and DRS, and I think they would have gone side by side into Sandefo.
Yeah, and Zero as well on the back of Papine is looking quite interesting as well. The Finn on the back of the Belgian nearly snaps it into the wall on the exit of Sandervoort there, and Papine still in 9th position. Zero there in 10th as well. Evil Zoop saying in the chat, cheekily, I may add as well, no WL graphic at the end of the race. Yeah, he saw my absolute cockle on the on the PSPL stream at the end of last night. It was only for a few seconds. I will argue that. It was only for a few seconds. Bunty, though, tries to go on the outside of the Nivelle chicane. Doesn't get the job done, and Ivo being put under so much pressure now by Bunty, who was on 3-lap all the hards. Can he try and mimic his way potentially into this position, into P7? Dara into the pit lane is behind MedTC coming out the pit lane, and MedTC is ahead of him by only about 3 tenths coming out the pits.
I was about to mention that battle that Dareth came into the pit lane and MedTC, he had a really good outlap then, and now he is up to P4.
Yeah, definitely so. Zoop also saying, by the way, very cheeky I may add as well, coming from an admin, you might end up in FRL F3 and PSGL F14 next week. Yeah, it's a bit of banter between the two leagues, and I'm not losing my position in PSF2. Bunty's on the back of Ivo, not quite the job done, and Matt and Tom, as you mentioned, in the pits. Jensen continues.
This is the lap, I think, for Jensen that he should pit. The gap to Macho was 16 seconds. So I think it's the time now for Jensen to come into the pit lane and change for a new set of tires.
This is going to be close. And do you know what? I think Macho's going to be ahead of him coming in towards turn number 1. Tom on the exit of the pit lane. Macho hits the wall, bounces him off, gets him ahead. Macho turns into second. And now, this is interesting. Macho, I didn't expect him to be anywhere near Tom coming out the pit lane. Tom arguably is on a set of medium compounded tyres. Macho has built the bullet here. He's on 5-lap all the hards compared to Tom on basic there in second, Tom there in third. Jensen has surely got to come in the pit lane as a result as well, as we are back live. I'm not sure what was happening there with my OBS. We are back live, by the way. Jensen leads, Macho in second, Tom in third. Jensen's going to be about, what, 3-4 seconds maybe behind these. Is he in the pits? Yes. Jensen in the pits. This now is fascinating.
This is really in the disadvantage of Jensen, because now he will be 4 seconds, like you said, 3-4 seconds behind the leading group. But yeah, if they will fight with each other, then Jensen will come up really quick to their back.
Yeah, I think Jensen will be on the back of them in a quite a shot. I think he's going to be about 5 seconds coming out the pit lane behind. Coming out the pits, yeah, 4.2, 4.4, it will be around 5-6 seconds by the end of that, as I think Bunty has spun coming through the Nivelle chicane. I have a feeling he's got caught in the inside curve there and spun the car around. Macho, though, leading the way. Tom there in second, Jensen in third. He's 5 seconds off the back of Tom. But now, what I think the game plan is, if the Shazoo boys are in the party, and I know they are probably in the same party together, if their game plan was anything, I think it's for Tom to get ahead of Macho. Don't know where out on track, probably in towards turn number 1, is to get ahead of Macho, and then back Macho up into Jensen, and then Jensen's in the fight, and then it's a 3-way fight for the race lead.
Especially if Tom now knows that he will get disqualification at the end of the race anyway. So yeah, this could be a really interesting team game between the two Shazoo drivers.
It will be a really interesting team game indeed. Of course, they're both in different teams here, AlphaTauri and Williams. Of course, Jos Capito lost his job as team principal in Williams in real life, but Tom is going to go for the move up the hill, potentially on the back of Macho. He's going to try and twist his way to try and get this job done for Macho, though, stoic in his defence, and that's exactly what he wants, as Tom carries too much overspeed coming through Massenet in Casino Square, loses that time. This is good news for Jensen, because he's going to gain a couple of tenths of a second there.
He gained half a second there on Macho and Tom, because they are fighting, and like I said, and you said, that Jensen will be back on them again pretty soon.
He will be on the back of them pretty soon indeed. Papine and Hawk, by the way, are having a right old set too in the Discord, which I think is part of the reason why Hawk decided to come in the commentary box, is both the leaders make a huge mistake.
And Jensen He is really
He's
gaining.
rapid.
Look at the gap.
He is rapid.
Jensen is rapid.
3.4 seconds now, the gap to Tom. I mean, we were talking last lap around, it was 5 seconds out of the pit lane. Jensen has caught, albeit I think half a second on this lap because of them 2 mistakes that Macho and Tom made, arguably similarly, pretty much synchronised coming through the Nivelle chicane. And Jensen now, fastest lap of the race, that is his pace. Is he laying up 2 on the line too early though? It's 26% of ERS that he's got. Tom has got 60%. Macho has got 56%. So both of them ahead are obviously going to be much more ahead on Jensen in terms of the ERS. But Jensen, for you, Jesse, is he going too hard too early?
I mean, it could be. I think he must save ERS for now. Like, he will be on their backs anyway if they go on like this. So I think he needs to gain more ERS, and then he can just use that to overtake them into the lead.
Yeah, he is catching them, to be fair. Tom is not going easy on Macho either. These two are keeping up pace, and Jensen is just simply quicker through the corners than Tom and Macho. And with that dirty air coming into effect, Tom having to brake a lot later in towards Raskas as a result to try and get him out of that dirty air. And coming out of the Nivelle to the Noj, there's another yellow flag out on track. I think that might be MedTC or Dara. I think it's Dara.
Pelly.
It's Pelly.
Oh, it's Pelly.
He's at the back of the field, it's okay. As now Tom, again on the back of Macho, trying to get the job done. Wasn't being unfair to Pelly there whatsoever. I thought it was Dara or MedTC. I'm glad it's Pelly, personally. But yeah, he's down in 12. And he's still continuing on, to be fair, even a lap down.
Yeah, he's pitting. Well, maybe he can steal the fastest lap point to go to a set of soft, maybe.
He can. I think it was lap last week as well in China, if I'm not mistaken. Arguably not the quickest driver in FRL F1 we'll ever have this season, as Tom is on the back of Macho, coming through the tunnel in towards Nivelle chicane, round the outside into the Nivelle chicane. Macho just about gets that car stopped. How on earth they've not made contact into there, I do not know. But look at the time that Jensen just gained as a result, 0.7 of a second from that move alone.
Yeah, wow. It really surprises me that they didn't collide, or someone needed to take the runoff area. And yeah, Jensen is gaining like crazy now.
He is indeed. My laptop has just gone down to 1 bar, now on 4 bar, it's fine, we're backed up. Macho leads the way, Tom there in second. But now, Tom has got to apply that pressure, and I think the game plan is, as I said a couple of laps ago, Tom has to try and get past Macho. At this stage though, Jesse, they are both equaling each other out. This is playing perfectly into the former WR and former FRL champions' hands in Jensen, who's there in third. But there is a big caveat. They're now catching the front two into, I think it is it Pelly that's ahead of him or Zero? It's Zero that's ahead. And if they get within a second of Zero, then they're in DRS range, and that could prove costly for Jensen.
Well, I think Zero, Jensen, his teammate, of course, will not try to give that DRS to Macho and Tom. And yet Jensen, he's almost a second behind now in the DRS from Tom. This is gonna be heating up.
Wasn't as committed coming through the Nivelle chicane of through the swim pool section. Tom, though, is really committed on the back of Macho. Is he going to go for the move again? On the back of him in towards turn 1. Use up all of that ERS, but he's just not good enough in the end in the straight line. Macho covers him off, and Macho still leads the way. Tom in second, Jensen in third, and now the three-way battle is pretty much on for the race lead here in FRL F1, but still 10.5 laps if you're being picky. Macho leads, Tom in second, Jensen in third. This race, no matter what happens now, we can say these three are class above the field.
Yeah, we said Jensen was maybe too hard too early, but now he has a big advantage in terms of ERS.
Yeah. He does, and that ERS advantage, I think, is something like 30.
Oh, Macho!
Macho clips the inside wall, I think, of the Nivelle chicane, or was that a tap from Tom? I think it's for wing damage. Macho, I think, has clipped the inside wall. He got too close to the inside, And now the Shazoo boys are going to go at war once again. Tom and Jensen for the race lead. Macho there in the wall, I think, clipping the wall on the inside. He just got too much on the rear end. And Macho there, probably banging on his steering wheel. Do you know what? If I was Tom and Jensen, I'd probably wait up for Macho and let him have a real good crack at this, because Macho did not deserve that at all. That is just Monaco playing tricks on the Mercedes.
Yeah, really unfortunate for him as he hit it the inside wall of the Nouvelle chicane. Yeah, chances of the race win may be over now.
Yeah, maybe so, but if I know Macho very well, which I do, he is going to be absolutely fuming in his own mind, but hopefully he can channel that anger now into something positive and to catch Jensen and Tom. And remember, Jesse, he could be on the fresher tyres towards the end of the race, so he's 3.8 seconds behind. Obviously, that mistake has put him completely on the back foot. Is it going to be the simple thing, though, of Tom and Jensen racing out for the race win here? It remains to be seen, because easily these two can make a mistake, and then it's back to square one with Macho right on the back of them again.
Yeah, I think we saw it is now almost 8 laps to go. Tom is now set for now 7 laps. After this one, 8 laps on his tires. Jensen then 7. And we saw, like around lap 13 laps on that medium set of tire, that Macho was struggling in his first stint. So maybe he can come back at them.
Yeah, definitely. As Macho, yeah, he is losing time now, to be fair to Tom and Jensen. It's only 0.4 of a second the last lap around. But it's time nonetheless that he's not pretty much going to get back unless somebody crashes him behind. There's a safety car. There's all of a sudden a safety car. And then he's grouped up on the back as Jensen nearly hits the back of Tom into the Grand Hotel Hairpin. Goodness me, that was close.
That was really close indeed. But yeah, that safety car that you said will not come out because we still have the safety car glitch.
We do still have the safety car glitch, even though I got reported, apparently another PSGLT, is that they had a safety car last night. So it's weird. It's depending on the lobby, I think. It's weird.
Yeah, I heard here in FRL F2 last night, didn't race. But yeah, I heard there was one safety car and one VSC, so a bit weird.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. We just have to hope that the Codemasters gods are quite literally with us, with a safety car, with a VS8. We'll certainly bring the pack together. Certainly won't let the lap cars of Pepine, Charlie, and Pelly through at least. Jensen, though, all over the back of Tom, in towards Massenane Casino Square once again. Lap 32 out of 39. There's still 8 laps in this race to go. And do you know what? Tom and Jensen have had their fair share of battles. I've commentated on these fair share of battles as well. And normally, when I see these two going at it, and only within a couple of tenths of a second, I get a little bit giddy. So, pardon me if I do get a bit giddy, but this is now the race lead battle for sure, because Macho is still losing time, and Keki, I think it's hit the wall coming through Raskas.
Yeah,
or was it Pelly? Pelly, I think it was. Oh no, Keki's out!
Keki is out!
Into Anthony Noj! Is that gonna be a...
Yeah, he slided into the pit lane, and then his rear tire is off now.
How's he done that? How on earth has he done that? I didn't see that, to be honest. We're back to green flag racing, as predictable as the Codemasters game gives us. Keki out of the race, out of the points, unfortunately. Pelly now has got one more driver to crash in front of him, and then he's in the points. Never give up is, I think, the motto, certainly for Pelly. Tom, though, leads the way. Jensen there in second. Macho there in third. Still no safety car, but what is now quite clear, Tom picking up the pace on Jensen. They're pulling away from Macho still, about 0.4 of a second a lap. And Tom now trying to get Jensen outside of a second as Jensen nearly again goes into the back of him into the Grand Hotel Hairpin.
And another battle I'm looking a bit at, Dareth versus Matty C for P4. Dareth getting closer and closer to the fin.
Yeah, Dareth's doing a good job. Dareth is not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Macho makes another mistake. Metis and Darrow then suddenly fighting for a podium, and it's just the nature of the beast, the nature of the Millionaires playground here, of course, in Monaco. Tom leading the way still from Jensen second, Matchell there in third, Metis and Darrow there fourth and fifth. Papine is on the back of Charlie as well, further down the field currently for 8th and 9th position. Now Papine hasn't got any ERS, Charlie has, so if he does want to defend, he can do, and Charlie is doing enough up the hill anyways to defend up the position. For that, the P8 and P9 is going to look like an interesting battle all of a sudden.
Also really interested. But yeah, looking then penalty-wise, it is not really interested because Papine has a penalty and could get more. Maybe. If the stewards decide he was at fault in the lap 1 incident with Hulk, of course.
Yeah, well, he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties. Looking at the penalty, what's the word I'm looking for? The penalties. Looking at the penalties, 3 seconds for Bunty, 6 seconds for Papine, Zero on 3, and Pelly on 6, and that is your lot for the penalties. We have none, and of course, Tom. Oh, as that Keki has crashed coming into the Nivelle chicane. Oh, but no, sorry, Pelly has crashed into the Nivelle chicane. Is that going to cause a safety car? Probably not.
I thought we had a safety car because there were 2 sectors in yellow flag.
I thought Keki crashed. Yeah, Keki has crashed in fact. So Keki has crashed. I saw something happen in the Nivelle chicane. I think it might have been the wrong car. I think it might have been Pelly perhaps. But Keki has also crashed out the race. Both him and Pelly are out. And now all of a sudden, their chances of a top 10 finish are now gone because both of them, outside of the points, have now crashed.
Yeah, but Keki, sorry that I say this, James, has crashed just 3 laps ago, I think.
I think I did. Is that a commentator's curse? Can we put it down to that?
Maybe. But yeah, Darren, as I mentioned earlier, is really getting close now. He is trying to look for the move up to P4. And this is also getting a bit of tension now. Same for Ivo versus Bunty for P6.
Yeah, I've got Bunty for P6, Papine and Charlie for P8, P9. Who said Monaco wouldn't deliver you battles? I think Bunty and Ivo was the first one, as Bunty actually doesn't get his ERS on in time and doesn't get the job done down the straight in towards turn number 1. He might in towards Massenet if he is good enough on that ERS. Has to rely on the car to be quick. He's quick in a straight line, not really quick in the corners though, I don't think. And Bunty there, not Bunty. We had Spunky this season, Bunty, still in 7th position, Ivo there in 6th, Bunty in 7th, and unfortunately for Bunty, it's still only round 3, so I could probably get that wrong again.
Well, from what I saw from this battle, they had a bit of contact, yeah. Bunty slammed into the back of Ivo a bit on the final corner, which I think caused that he isn't through into P6 now, but I think those 2 guys are just battling the whole race with each other, and Bunty's going for it now.
Typical, and both of them make contact, and Ivo cups the corner and gets a 3-second penalty.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that could be removed, as Bunty pushed him a bit off. So yeah, I think that could be gonna be removed.
Yeah, I caught that late, and it looked like Bunty was on the inside, down into the Nivelle chicane, and I think he's honestly just caught about. It's difficult enough to go side by side. I've seen it done in real life. John Eric Verne, I remember, certainly famously crashed coming through the Nivelle chicane and trying to go side by side. In real life, it is possible. On this game, though, pretty much impossible, and you've got to rely not only on yourself as a driver and your instincts as a driver, but also on the driver's instincts ahead of you, and both of them have got to be intertwined. If they're not intertwined, you've got to make contact. That's what we saw with Ivo and Bunty.
Something is interesting for the constructor standings, maybe. Zero has pitted to a set of soft tires, and in this lap, he's gonna try and steal the fastest lap now.
He is indeed, and AlphaTauri's currently are outscoring the single Mercedes of Macho, who's still in this race, still in 3rd position. Zabel will pick up that point, maybe an extra point to go on top. Jensen could win this, and then I think AlphaTauri are in the lead in the Constructors' battle, if I'm not mistaken. So Tom has got to really weather this storm. 2 laps to go, he's got 50% of ERS. Jensen has got 22% of ERS. And now, coming through the middle sector, in the final sector, Jensen all of a sudden looks very quick coming through the swimming pool section and now applies that pressure in towards Raskas once again, in towards Anthony Norge. Tom's still leading the way though, Jensen in second, Macho in third, but now Jensen has got to ideally put all of his chips on the line, get to the poker table, and now lay his cards quite literally on the deck.
Yeah, it is really getting tension lap by lap for that P1. But remember, like Hulk said, Tom could be disqualified still from this race after the short decision.
He could be. He could be. I mean, Parrot, to be fair, did make a comment. And I don't think Hawk actually saw this, but he did make a comment. Where is it? I'm just trying to have a look at it. It is... He can go F1, I know him. That's what Parrot said. He's an admin as well. Or moderator, I think he is, in his role. And he said you can go Williams full time. And there we go, and Jensen makes a mistake on the Nivelle chicane, and that's it. That is pretty much it done. Jensen makes the mistake, his floor got caught on the inside curb, on the sausage curb, and Tom all of a sudden 6 tenths per second ahead. I don't think there's any chance of Jensen coming back from that.
Yeah, I was about to say that I think there is no chance now unless Tom makes a mistake. But yeah, looking at Tommy's race now, he had really good pace, also in qualifying already.
Zook adding to the Bunty-Tons, by the way, in the chat as well. Spinky is now a new one. Tom leads the way. Jensen in second. Macho there in third. Macho, you've got to say, if he didn't make that mistake at Nivelle chicane, where he would have been in this battle, I think we've been essentially robbed of a front three battle that was really hotting up at the time. Unfortunately, I think he got caught in the inside curve. I certainly didn't see Tom catch the back end of him. Tom leads the way, and Tom's running low on fuel, which is concerning me a little bit. Coming through the tunnel, Jensen not low on fuel. This is the final lap of the race, so Jensen's overfueled here. And has he overfueled that the thing to Tom to possibly underfuel his car and possibly lose this race with his fuel running out? This is going to be interesting. Tom now coming through the swimming pool section, looks in control, hits the wall on the right hand side. It's enough to unsettle the car, but it's not enough, I think, for him to be taking this race lead unless he runs out of fuel around the final corner. Anti-Norge is now complete. Tom now on the run to the line, takes the win in Monaco from Jensen there in second. Jensen might get inherited the win if, of course, that disqualification is given. Macho there in the end, finishing in third. Medty, C and Dara have had a right set two for fourth and fifth position, still battling with Ivor and Bunty further down the field as well. Medty, C in fourth, Dara there in fifth. We've lost Papine there in ninth position, also finishing. And Bunty has a huge mistake, now more like Spunty out on track, and he's down in seventh.
Well, first it was Spinky a few laps ago, now it is Spunty.
What was the other one I said a little bit earlier on in the season? I don't know, I probably forgot. I mentioned it earlier on in the stream, so you can go back on it, that's for sure. Ivor there is pulling away, and to be fair, Ivor I think has been rather underlooked in this race. He's there in 6th position, doing a good job. Pelly's also, Cyril's also finished there down in 10th position as well. But Ivor certainly underlooked in this race. He deserves these points, I think. Going to pick up a good amount of points for Ferrari. Round the final corner, Anthony Norge, he's going to be coming across the line to finish in P number 6. Bunty there in the end, Spunty, Spinky, whatever your name like to call them there in 7th, and Charlie there finishing off in 8th position as well. And his race, of course, ruined, I think, by his hit to the wall twice. He had to come in the pit lane in 2 laps, and that set his tone, certainly, for the race. As Spunky gets driver of the day awarded by the in-game fans.
Well, to be honest, I do not agree with that. Because, in my opinion, I think it was Dara's debut, but he did an impressive performance. In qualifying, I think he was P4, and then P5 when you debuted. On Monaco, especially, is a really great performance.
Yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. There we are. I've had my say, by the way, on the Tom situation. Yeah, he got... Tom, I can certainly vouch for him in terms of his pace. I can certainly vouch for him in terms of his racing. I mean, we saw it tonight. He takes the win in Monaco, albeit, of course, if the admins obviously want to take that away from fair play, they can. But it doesn't take away from the fact that Tom absolutely obliterated everyone in the race, in qualifying, and then pretty much dominated the race from Macho's moment onwards. Jensen really applied that pressure, but in the end, Tom took that win, and if that disqualification isn't taken off, I think it's well and truly deserved given what he showed tonight.
Yeah, he was, for me, the quickest by far today. Looking at qualifying, only getting pole with only one lap in, and then now in the race, also taking P1. Good performance by the Shazoo man in the Williams this race.
Yeah, really good indeed. We have been joined by the other Shazoo man in the chat there as well, in Jensen. I'm not sure if Tom has actually got any roles yet. He has got roles because he's just joined. There we go. Tom is here in the chat. And Tom, in the end, let's just talk about that qualifying lap first of all. How on earth did you set a 109.1 or 109 flat at the end of that qualifying session in an only one lap practice?
Well, I don't know, to be honest. I know this track has like a lot of grip. Well, it doesn't have any grip really throughout the whole session. It's sort of the same pace for the whole session, so you can sort of set a good lap at any time in the session. And I just sent it. To be fair, I literally, I've not done a single lap all day. I got on, and I had nothing to do. Obviously, some people might not be happy that they let me join, but I don't see why not. But anyway, yeah, obviously thankful to Parrot for getting me in, and hopefully, and I didn't like offend anyone, but I was happy doing that quali lap. I didn't expect it from myself, but yeah.
I think you were quicker than PSGL F2 pole position last night as well, so that just puts it really into perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a tenth off what I did, so last night, but obviously, considering I've been sweating for PSGL Monaco like only yesterday, it's like I've obviously got a fair bit of practice for today already, so
yeah,
it didn't take me.
Yeah, a fair bit of practice indeed, I think, given that. And obviously, in the race, you took the race win. What happened, by the way, with Macho down into the Naval chicane? Did you make contact with him, or did you just touch the wall on the inside?
Yeah, no, I think he hit his rear left tyre on the inside wall, just span him around in front of me. I was nowhere near him at the time. It was quite unlucky, to be fair, because he was putting up great defence and I actually couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, couldn't do anything about it indeed. But Macho, of course, they're down in third position in the end. Obviously, we'll hear his thoughts in just a second. But obviously, if you do keep this race win, congratulations, first of all, and talk us through what was, in the end, I think, from Macho's spin onwards, a real dominant performance.
Yeah, well, Macho inspired me with his defending, so I knew where to place the car if Jensen was going to come. So yeah, it was quite easy from then on, and yeah, it just I would have came out ahead of Macho, but my teammate in the Williams from a lap down actually pit in front of me, which was just brilliant. I should have noticed that, but yeah, if I would have stayed out a lap longer, he would have undercut me out of the way, so it didn't really matter. And I think the Mercedes pit box is bugged anyway, so but obviously I'm not sure about that. And then yeah, it was dominant, but if it wasn't Monaco, Jensen definitely could have fought me a lot more.
Yeah, I think he was applying a lot of pressure to you in that final 2 laps, and I would have loved, honestly, to see another 39 laps. I think, never mind another 2 laps. I think of the battle that we were going to get right to the end of that race. But congratulations, of course, Tom, on that race win. Currently on that race win, Mr. Jesse, any questions?
James?
I have informed him. He's under the impression that he is going to be disqualified.
I hope you don't take it like too bad, Tom, because that was just a fuck up from the staff side, and we are very sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my choice, is it? But it's like, fair enough.
Yeah, obviously that will get decided, I'm sure, after the race. Jesse, if you are here, any questions?
I am definitely here. Yeah, Tom, you had a really good performance tonight. In terms of next week, if you are racing, it is your home GP in Silverstone. The first sprint of the season as well. Are you confident going into that?
Well, it's actually funny that because PSGL's actually also Silverstone next week, so me and Jensen will probably have a fair bit of sweating done, and it'll probably be a really fun race, and hopefully we can duel it out with Macho as well and anyone else. But so yeah, I quite like Silverstone, and it's a good track for racing, unlike Monaco. So hopefully it'll be good, and obviously I won't be DSQ. So
Yeah,
Congratulations on the win then here.
thank you, mate.
Yeah, hopefully not going to be getting disqualified. Hopefully you are back rightfully at the front end of the grid, I'm sure. Go and enjoy evening.
Thank you, James.
Very welcome indeed. We will now speak, of course, to the Shazoo Man's other teammate, of course, in Jensen, finishing there in P2. And Jensen, in the end, P2 for you, I think it could have been potentially the race win. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, Macho, when he was out the front there, when he managed to get out ahead of Tom, it was literally like the easiest gap to catch up there. Like, I'm so fortunate to even get close to him there because he was like 4 seconds ahead of me. Yeah, then Macho, of course, decided to crash up the chicane. And yeah, it was then just a 1v1 between me and Tom. Of course, he had the advantage at the front, but yeah, I was just giving my all and trying to get close, maybe overtake him. But yeah, I didn't have any traction out the corners, and for some reason, coming out into the tunnel, I think the only corner I was getting traction out of was probably turn 1, and I had one little go at it, but I think it was just a little bit too far back. Even when he covered off the inside, I was still a little bit too far back to make anything on it. But yeah, I mean, he deserved the race win today. I mean, if they're saying he's getting disqualified, I mean, it's a little bit unfair. Half understood, but half unfair as well. But yeah, I mean, I hope he keeps his race win because he's full time now, and then that's gonna make a three-way battle between me, Macho, and him, hopefully.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting, I think, to see, obviously, throughout the course of the season. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a whim here as well and mention the actual fact that drivers in the past in FRL have been allowed to race under the current rules and regulations when the admins have decided, of course, it is felt. Certainly from the ball boy days, I know that is an actual fact, and it has been proven in the past where the likes of Blizzard have returned, the likes of ZZ Public have returned, obviously names that are now well known within the league racing community. So I'm just going to put it out there, obviously, in case the admins are unsure of what I'm on about. Have a look a couple of seasons ago, drivers did get invited back as a result, and they did get put in straight into the lobby, because I know, because I was commentating back then as well. Obviously, with rules and regulations these days, that might not be the case, but it doesn't take away, Jensen, from your P2. Talk us through that battle that you were having with Tom in the final couple of laps of that race, because it was getting quite tense, and there was about 4/10 of a second between you.
Yeah, when I caught up, I had about 60% energy, so I was just using what I saved up while catching up, and Tom, I saw, was derating at one point, but I think he wasn't using anything. He was just getting the perfect traction out of the corners to cover me off, and I tried using my energy, but I couldn't get close because of that. So yeah, in the end, it wasn't to be. I mean, at least I'm happy I managed to put some sort of pressure on, or keep really close the whole last stint, and just represents our pace at the moment's getting better and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, pace is definitely getting better, and obviously the form from WR, let's say, I think hopefully is now out your system. And looking ahead to the rest of the season, obviously we've got Silverstone coming up next week. What tracks are you looking forward to for the rest of this season?
I know there's definitely a couple spring to mind. Silverstone, of course, Imola, Zandvoort. I'd even put Singapore on there as well. But yeah, those lot of tracks definitely for sure. I think the last lot of tracks probably going to be a struggle, like Mexico, Abu Dhabi, maybe even Monza. I don't know, but yeah, looking at it, it looks fairly okay. So I'm not too.
Yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby at all, I'm sure. Jesse, any questions?
Of course, it is also for you your home race next week. You are leading the championship now again with this P2 or maybe even the win. That is all about later. Yeah, Silverstone, a sprint race as well. Do you like the track? Of course.
Most of my league racing wins are kind of Silverstone, so yeah, definitely a favourite track for me. Yeah. I think this game I've been a bit here and there for Silverstone. Like I've had some good drives, some just have like fallen apart. Like you said, James commentated on the poor WR form Silverstone race that I had. But yeah, I think looking at it now, should be alright. Hopefully pick up another podium because win's not guaranteed when you have like the likes of Tom, even Macho and mid TC on the grid. So yeah, we're just gonna have to try and do my best, I guess.
Yeah, definitely
Well,
so.
congratulations.
Oh, we could.
You can go,
Go on.
James.
No, go on.
I wanted to say congratulations on your P2 then, or maybe the win.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, if it is P2, then that's three P2s now in Monaco in FRL. Still not the win yet, which is a bit annoying. But I mean, if nothing happens, if Tom gets to keep his win, which in my eyes is probably the fair way around, then of course next season, hopefully I get to try and win Monaco again. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely so. And now you can go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you for your commentary as well.
You're very welcome indeed. We are now going to speak to possibly the unluckiest man now in Monte Carlo at the Devil's Playground. Of course, it was Macho. And Macho, you had that race win, perhaps in your safekeeping. What on earth happened into the Nivelle chicane?
Well, you could say I fumbled the bag.
Did you just get too tight into the curb on the wall on the inside?
Yeah, because like Tom had very good exits on the like the little bit after, so I tried to focus on the exit more on that corner. So I tried to go as close as possible to, well, obviously get a better exit. And then my left rear clipped the inside wall, spun around. And then I did manage to just smash the brake, go in reverse, and quickly go on again. But yeah, I was quite enjoying it actually. Before that, just fighting it out and stuff. But then after that, I was in no man's land and it was quite boring. But well, still P3.
Yeah, talk us through that battle though. Obviously, before it led up to that obvious unfortunate collision with the wall at the Nivelle chicane, which is certainly not going to be your friend, I'm sure, from tonight. But talk us through that battle because in the end, me and Jesse were both shocked in commentary. You actually took the race lead off Tom and Jensen, who went a few laps further than you.
Yeah, well, obviously I was in front of Jensen when I pitted, but I never had an intention to come out in front of Tom because I thought the gap was too big. So I saved up like almost like I think 100% of ERS. So when he came out of the pits, I knew that I could defend, but yeah, still he had new mediums. But yeah, it's Monaco, everything is possible, even on old tires.
Yeah, even on all tyres indeed. And obviously that P3 finish is still a very solid finish from you. Jesse, any questions?
Yeah, of course. You've lost your championship lead now to Jensen. Next week in the Silverstone, also with a sprint race, of course. Are you confident in getting that championship lead back from Jensen?
I don't know. I don't really like Silverstone. I don't know how and why, because I just don't really know how to get on speed there. Yeah, it's something weird, but I guess we'll see. Because I didn't expect it in China as well, and well, we know the result.
Yeah, we do know the result. He won there.
Exactly.
He won there in China, so hopefully the most unexpected wins will come. Hopefully you're back to form next week. Go and enjoy Eden.
Thanks, and thanks for the comms, guys.
You are very welcome indeed. Now, I have got to get the standings up, or the final finishing result, and to see who I'm to come to next. It is Mr. Driver of the Day in FRL F1. It is VPR Ivo, and Ivo there in the end. P6 from you, underdog performance. Talk us through
it. Yeah, before the race, I knew I could have scored maybe points or high position, but in the quali, I just bottled it and hit the wall on the inside, and I had to start P-turning, so I had to overtake or just gain a few places to get in the points. At the start, I won one position on 0, but then Pepijn and Hawk crashed, and I had to avoid them, so I hit the wall line with my wing, so I had damage from lap 1. So I was losing pace with that, but after I was then in P10, I think. Yeah, and Watermelon made contact with Charlie, I think, and Charlie had to pit, and a few laps later, Watermelon also crashed, so it was P8. And then I was, after the pit stops, I think P9 or P8, I don't know, and just, don't crash, and Kiki crashed as well, and then of course I had still that front wing damage, so Bunty was gaining on me. First he was a few tenths behind, then he spun, he was then 8 seconds behind, and a few laps later was already at my back, because I was losing a lot of time with it. And then just defending hard, and after all, I made contact one time, and I had to cut the chicane, because otherwise we're both in the wall, and after that just I bring it home to P6.
Yeah, and obviously you qualified P13 as well, so up to P6, you still must be happy with the results and must be happy with 8 points.
Yeah, of course. P6 was also the highest possible, even if I started higher, because I ended up 40 seconds behind P5, I think. Because the top 5 was just on another level today.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I think we mentioned that in commentary, that certainly the top 3 were just in a different class, and I've got to agree. I think the top 5 were certainly in a different class tonight. It's Monaco, though. It's always going to be really big gaps, I think, between drivers. So don't let that dishearten you. P6, though, is still a very strong finish. Jesse, any questions?
Yeah, Ivo, of course, a really strong result from you in P6, taking your second point finish this week in Monaco. In terms of next week, then, we are in Silverstone with a sprint race. Are you confident to gain more to get more points?
I hope I can get another point finish. P6 will be, I think, a bit too high, because it's not the same as Monaco. But I'm not really fast around it. I like the track a lot, but I just can't find the pace there. But we'll see if I can get points again.
I'm waiting on Jesse to come in, but
well, congratulations on your P6.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
We don't want to cross over each other, I promise. That's why I'm trying to give Jesse the floor as well. But anyway, Ivo, go and enjoy evening.
Yeah, thank you for the comments tonight.
You are very welcome indeed. We can now speak to the man, of course, who finished there in P8 and possibly could have picked up certainly a P6 finish out on track. It is FRL Charlie. And Charlie, 3 pit stops, 3 front wing changes, P8. Still happy with the points?
It was actually only 1 front wing change. It's because when I pitted the first time, the team did not change the front wing.
Oh,
which made it very. It's because obviously, if you only have a yellow front wing, the game decides to not change it when it's on automatic. So that basically really annoyed me. But now I know that clearly racing against Warmelon just isn't going to be fun for me because he first blocked me in qualify and then ruins my race for me when I could have gotten P6 for the third race in a row, obviously, which frustrating because I almost got P7 in the end because I was catching up to Bunty and I was hoping that they'd get into a big battle and then I could get within the penalty area, but that clearly didn't quite happen in the end for me.
yeah, it didn't happen in the end. I think the gaps were at the end of the race. You were only a second off Ivo, even with the penalties, I think, at the end of the race. So, still put on that performance. You qualified, obviously, in P8 as well. So, P8 finish isn't still too bad, I guess.
I mean, it's not too bad, but to miss out on those kind of points again, and I've probably dropped in the standings now because of this, it's frustrating. So, honestly, once I saw the pace that I had, I did realise I could probably go for like a P7 or P6, but then obviously Warmelon just gave me the damage, and then it just didn't. I was keeping up with him for a bit, but I decided to come in early because I didn't think it'd be worth it trying to stay ahead of the driver who was behind me because there was obviously that large train that he was causing, and that's. I got ahead of him at the start, but then when I tried to get a bit greedy and get a mid TC as well, and we were side by side in the hairpin, I just got squeezed a bit too much and ended up hitting his side pod and caused chaos a bit.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but still, I think a P8 is certainly good. I mean, it's Monaco at the end of the day. I think any finish is really a good result in Monaco. Jesse, any questions?
Yeah, of course. Like half of the grid, I think also it's your home race next week. Also with a sprint race. Is the P6 streak starting again there?
Hopefully, it'll start again. I've managed to end the curse of not having a podium at my home GP finally a few weeks ago. So that's something to look forward to going into next week. And my pace is definitely improved because around Silverstone. So honestly, I reckon qualifying probably won't go as well because my qualify pace isn't as good on the track. But when it comes to my race pace, it is just better than probably what you'd think for an assist guy.
Yeah, you were insane that last season in F2, where I was commentating, of course. But yeah, congratulations then. Congratulations with the 8th finish here in Monaco.
Thank you.
And now, with that, we are going to move on to, I think it's the final man that we can speak to here in the Discord, finishing there in P9, running the Danish flag as well, that I noticed tonight as well. It is Mr. Papine, and Papine, P10 up to P9, happy with the points? If he's here?
No.
No, why? How's that?
Yeah, just terrible qualifying race.
Yeah, obviously I think you got caught up in an incident with Hawk on lap 1, if I'm not mistaken. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you always have to leave space, but it's a straight on Monaco with a bit corners within it, and you can't drive side by side there. And I was in front, so to be honest, it wasn't my fault. If I couldn't give space more. But there are corners in that straight, so that was very difficult. But I don't know why he just backed out because he was only with his rear wheel next to me. So I don't know why he was taking that risk when I had overspeed and he only was with a wheel next to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I can argue certainly with the straight point because there are kinks as well, running up the straight as you mentioned, but there's also bumps in the road as well, and I think that just can set up the car.
Exactly. When you're gonna steer too much on it straight, when you're going full throttle, then you will just spin on it. Yeah, that's also I was as much as possible first
to the left, but then there is a corner, but I can't go max to the left when when there is space there, because then you will just spin.
Yeah, honestly, I've run side by side with somebody before up in FRL up in towards Massenet. Didn't end well for me. Didn't end well with him, and I'm sure that was pretty much a carbon copy of the incident that we saw between Pine and Hawk on that one. That is for sure. Stewards, of course, will have a look into that. I am absolutely guaranteed, and hopefully there is a positive outcome on that as well. Jesse, any questions?
Yeah, you are reserved, of course. Next week we are racing in Britain. Also, our first race of first sprint of the season here in FRL. Are you confident going into that?
Well, I don't know. At least not motivated, but yeah, I will just make the best of it.
Well, I think congratulations on the points then.
Yeah, congratulations indeed, Pine. Go and enjoy your evening.
Thanks. Same for you.
Very welcome indeed. And that rounds up very nicely indeed for FRL F1 tonight. And as Jesse mentioned there, it is Silverstone. I am home next week. Unfortunately, Jesse has got to make it his home potentially next week. In fact, Yuri might have to make it his home as well. The birthday boy, which I forgot to mention at the start of the stream. Happy, I don't know, I'm just going to make up a number, 10th birthday, I'm guessing, for Yuri.
Well, it is his 16th birthday. You wouldn't say it if you would ask him which age he is mentally, but
I had to think of an age on the top of my head, and I didn't want to insult him, but yeah, I think the age of 10 sums him up quite well, perhaps, I'm guessing. I don't know. But goodness me, yeah, Yuri, hopefully he's having a really good birthday. I'm sure he is partying away the night. I am sure. Probably best thing to do than sit in a comment box with me, that is for sure. But Jesse, of course, Silverstone next week. If you are going to be here alongside me, what can the viewers expect from Silverstone with the sprint race as well?
well, really great battles because, in my opinion, it's just the great track, the best track we have on the calendar this season, and just over all tracks because you can just battle side by side so good. So yeah, it is gonna be an epic one for sure.
Judging by Jesse's reaction there, I think it's going to be race of the season, and I think that's going to sum us up quite well going into next week. I am for sure, and honestly, big thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight. Of course, if you did tune in, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell. Of course, if you're brand new to the FRL channel, we are once again going to be live once again next week before the Christmas break. We are, of course, home at Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, the home of the British Grand Prix, and the home of the first ever Grand Prix in Formula One as well, celebrating its 72nd year on the calendar, or 73rd year it will be, of course, next year in 2023. Cannot wait. Sprint race and feature race should be very interesting, and hopefully Tom might be up there to try and take another win, if, of course, it is going to be given this week in Monaco. But that is it pretty much for me, certainly. Hopefully everyone has a good night. Of course, if you do want to tune in as well, I'm going to plug this, of course, across all of my commentaries this week. It's the 24 Hours of F1 event on Saturday and Sunday, starting, I think, at 1 p.m. UK time, if I'm not mistaken. I'm certainly going to be involved in the commentary for that. I'm commentating, I believe, Australia and China as it stands, as well as maybe the final couple of rounds as well on the Sunday morning. So that will be very interesting. And of course, we are doing it for two members of the league racing community who we sadly lost. Our very own Mad Sarby Anderson, of course. We are raising money for the British Heart Foundation. So that is going to be a real good charity to obviously try and battle the stigma around heart attacks and hopefully find a cure ideally and hopefully give people that bit of hope. We're going to remember Mads as well on that live stream. And also for Vadim, who obviously sadly passed away from brain cancer just a couple of months ago. We are raising money as well for Brain Cancer Foundation as well, and hopefully all of that is going to go, all of the money that is going to go. I know it is very hard with the cost of living and everything here in the UK, but every inch of money that is raised is going to go to them two charities. And why not? Why not come and support the league racing community in the 24 Hours of F1 event? No, for the last couple of years, we've got Jimmy Broadbent involved as well with some of the promos, so hopefully that can happen again But that is my final message to everyone for tonight. Tune in for that on Saturday night. It is going to be on Twitch, I believe. I am going to be commentating. You do not want to miss out. That is for sure. And of course, remembering two of our own, Vadim and of course Mad Sarby Anderson. And that is the way that I'm going to end off tonight's live stream. Big thank you, of course, to Jesse for joining me in the comment box. We are going to be seeing you next week, of course, in Silverstone. But for myself and Jesse, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.